Welcome into the Raw Knuckles podcast. Tim Stapleton, Knuckles here. And yes, the Tampa Bay Lightning did not pull it off. They didn't pull off the three in a row. And listen, a valiant effort by that group, no question about it. Last night's game, game six, I'm going to tell you right now, they don't pull that off, Colorado. I think Tampa wins it. And we'll never know, but after losing that game five at home, having that big, enormous task of going into Tampa and winning that hockey game, it's incredible what they pulled off, the Avalanche, because they were looking like they had tight ass a little bit. Game five, they got a little nervous there. Yeah, 3-2 was a close game. The goaltender certainly worried me. Kempa, when I saw those two goals go through him in game five, I thought they were a little bit on their heels, but boy, they come out and give it to the former Hab, Tori Lehkonen, who I love this kid when he played here. From the day he got here, I mean, his rookie season, he got 18 goals. And everybody thought we're going to have a goal scorer, 25 goal scorer a year, blah, blah, blah. Well, he kind of struggled that way, but he's a complete hockey player, this kid. That's the beauty of him. He plays battles on the boards, and here he is showing his medal the last two playoff seasons, scoring big, big goals. So, I look at that Colorado team, man, they stepped up last night, especially in the third period. They shut that team down, and it was incredible what they did.
They had that, yeah. That was the big thing for me, was kind of that third period. I was just with Tampa, like they didn't have a shot, right? It wasn't like they didn't have a shot to like I felt like
first half of the period, 10 minutes,
and I felt like that's
one shot.
I know, and then it was like the announcer was like, they're gonna have some sort of storm here, but it was just, and they kind of did, but it was just, it's like Colorado did what Tampa did to win the cup the last 2 years, because like Colorado's a team that wants to kind of run and gun. And they kind of got a lead, and they just sat on it, and they just made it boring, and they just kind of ran the clock out. And
Well, they didn't sit on it, actually.
Well,
I didn't see it. I didn't see they sat on it.
They did have some offensive.
They were in the offensive zone.
No, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you're right. You're right. I don't
mean,
want
they
to say sat on
controlled the
it.
puck.
Yep. They killed the clock. But they did it like offensively for sure.
Yeah.
And then just kind of. Personally, I mean, I know my picks, and I'm an expert now. I'm like Liam. I should be in Liam's spot with all the stats. But I did want to see a Game 7. Selfishly, I did. But you know what?
We all
ended.
do, right?
I know. But it's pretty cool. I mean, I think Shelley said after, like, when you win it, you realize, the days to come with the parade and all that. I was going to ask you, is that you kind of had that experience? It just gets, they don't really realize what they did until these days moving forward, right?
Yeah, afterwards, it's a lot to take in, and but before we even talk about parades, man, we got to look at that game, and when we always say, right, and you always hear it, your best player.
I never won Nux, okay? I just want to go right to the parade. I just want to go. No.
Well, I'm gonna help you understand what it's like. When you look at, those best players, and listen, Kucherov, Stamkos, they were awesome, right? All series, they played great. Last night, Stamkos, he had one shot on net. It went in, awesome. Kucherov had 2 shots on net. He attempted 7 shots that were blocked. But those guys, if they're not getting that offense, man, that team's going to struggle. And they got timely goals previous playoff seasons and this year from different guys in that lineup. Just what the Avalanche did to them in that third period. First half, obviously, no shots. But the way they skated with the puck, controlled the puck, offensive zone time they got, and started pressing and making it really difficult. They just didn't, okay, we're gonna snuff you out here. They kept trying to build on that lead, although they couldn't because of the goaltender made some great saves. There was some great action in that third period, and certainly pulling the goaltender. I'm there, man. If they pull this off, pulling the goalie, but they sucked it up, the Avs. I got to give it to Kemper though, because I had lost a little bit of faith in him. See him in Game 5. I'm there, boy. If he lets one in here, gets a little shaky, Tampa gets the first goal. But the kid stood tall. I was happy for him because if they don't win that last night, and then they go home, Game 7, all that pressure on the kid, and I would have, and they don't pull this off. Hello, and so many storylines here. You look at Bednar, right? Won in the East Coast Hockey League Championship, American Hockey League Championship. Now he's won a Stanley Cup, and you always hear about those teams, right? They gotta learn how to win, right? So you gotta get your face rubbed in it a little bit before you know how to win. And we look at this team, right? The Avs. Last few years in the playoffs, they were the first year when Bednar was here. I think they were out in the first round. The next 3 years, it was second round. They lost the Sharks, right? 2018-19. Well, the first year they didn't qualify. He was there, but he kind of was under the gun. He got put in there really quick. Patrick Waugh was left just before training camp. And 2017-18, first round, they lost the Preds. 2018-19, they lost in the second round to Sharks in Game 7. And then 2019-20, second round, seventh game to the Stars in Game 7. So they're getting close, but Cale Makar comes to town. Then they lose in the second round in Game 6 to the Golden Knights. And then this year, they beat the Preds, they beat the Blues, they beat the Oilers, and then here they are, got to dethrone the champs. Listen, they learned how to win. They did. And, I think a lot has to do with this coach. Like, I look at Cooper, same thing. Listen, you got talented teams, I get it. You get the right mix. You still have to have a guy that can lead the way. And both these coaches, I always loved Super Duper Johnny Cooper. I liked him as a coach. I still do. I really like him as a coach. Bednar, I didn't know a whole lot about, but boy, he's proven it. Everywhere he's gone, he's won. That's incredible.
No, it was an incredible story. That's the best part about when they pass, when they skate around the cup, is you hear these stories you don't know about, right? And I, it's always like almost like emotional. And I never won the cup. It's just kind of cool to see people kind of, accomplish their dreams. But yeah, they did that. The reason I picked Colorado, I'll be honest, is because of what they said after they lost last year. And I remember McKinnon, I was watching it live, and he was just like, I've been here how many years, and he's like, I haven't won shit. And it just kind of reminded me of I was a big Red Wings fan growing up, and what they did in the early 90s and what they went through, and getting swept by the Devils and just losing, and then that Claude Lemieux incident the next year.
You're from Chicago? You suck.
Yeah, I know. I'm a traitor. I told you, fan? I'm the most two-faced person you'll ever meet. So
that is terrible.
Did you expect anything else?
From Chicago and you're a Detroit fan?
Yeah.
That's the worst.
We'll talk about
me. That's a turncoat.
We'll do a therapy episode with me at a different time. But anyways, no, I was no, but you're right. Everything you said was spot on. They experience. You have to have experience, but you have to experience to lose. And I think that's why I did pick them. I know, granted, Tampa won the last two cups, and it was kind of. I was getting to a point where I was like, I don't know who's going to win this, but Colorado did what they did, man, and it was awesome. Like I said, selfishly, we all want to see a Game 7, but it was pretty cool to see them win and to see a team that had a lot of guys that were together for a long time. And then you get the captain on and they're interviewing him and they're like, what is it that, a team could take from your team, and the whole and he's just like, get a Cale Makar. That's how good this guy is, right? It's crazy. It is crazy how good he is. And he seems like it's almost like he went up and got that Conn Smythe and he was just
humble. Humble.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. I'm excited to watch him more in the future. And once again, congrats to the Avalanche. It's awesome.
Listen, that team, again, what moves that Sakic made, the incredible moves he made, trade deadline, March 21st. He goes out and he gets Cogliano. Now, Cogliano might not be, okay. Here's a guy who apparently after Game 5, addressed the team in the room. He came in and he apparently gave a very impactful, emotional speech. And what, I guess, what warrants him doing that? He was in 3 Stanley Cup Finals, 2 with the Ducks, 1 with the Stars, and did not win. Come up on the short end of it. So when you talk about a rallying point for a group of guys who, and he come over at the trade deadline with Lehkonen, with Manson, and with Sturm from Minnesota. So those 4 guys come into the mix, which is huge. You got Manson on D, tough D, pain in the ass to play against, scored some timely goals himself. Lehkonen comes in, great penalty killer. They had him, come on, they got him playing with McKinnon. Mm-hmm. Like, whoever thought that? He's here in Montreal. They had him on a checking line, you know. Now they got him with Rantanen and McKinnon because he can do the dirty work. He can do the work in the corners. He can get in there and muck it up. Like, I love the way that Bednar used him, and it showed. It paid off big time. But back to Cogliano, to have a guy who's been there like that. He's played over 1,100 games in the league. He's been around forever. And it seemed like they all just rallied around that. Listen, you all want to win it, right? Of course, you want to win it for yourself, right? I want to get a Stanley Cup. But, boy, you always look. And I saw back in 86 when we won it, I remember Larry Robinson and Bob Gainey. They were getting older. And I remember addressing a lot of the young guys that came in that year and talked to them about, listen, these guys aren't going to be around forever. They're kind of at the end of the line. They got a few years left. And we got to take advantage of them being here, guys, that the leaders that they were, and really step our games up. And I'm telling you, guys did. We had a crop of rookies that come in that year. Were incredible. And Richer, course came a Claude Lemieux, Patrick Waugh. Like, all these guys come in, and we did rally around them 2 older guys. And you look at this Avalanche team, it seems to me that Cogliano was that guy. And I saw him interviewed after the game last night. Man, he, a lot of times you're so raw, you're so out of breath, you so can't believe you did it. And he was just, you could tell how grateful he was. Because, listen, Tim, you said you never won one. I got to the final 1 time. I was so grateful we won. Believe me. Here's a kid who's been there 4 times now. In the first 3 times, he didn't win. Imagine what's going through his head. Like, first of all, after losing the 3rd one, he's probably like, I'll never get
I mean, I always say, like, I was surrounded by...
And then he gets traded.
I was surrounded by losers my whole career. That's my problem. Like, everyone was like, to him, he might get to a point where he's the loser.
Starting
but
where?
like, he doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be. No, it is awesome. It is awesome.
Great story.
No, for sure. I mean, did you have any? Can you recall, like, did you have any incidences like that where like there was a moment where like someone said something or a coach gave a speech or anything like that you can recall, or you guys?
I just remember. Our coach, when we won the cup, Jean Perron, his nickname was Puddinghead, and, he's dumb as a stump when it comes to game, honestly, really was. He wasn't a great communicator, whatever. Johnny, I remember Serge Savard and Ronald Corey, the then president of the Montreal Canadiens, both came down before the playoffs, and Mr. Corey gave an impassioned speech about winning and what it takes. And, he's a business guy. But he's always been a Canadiens fan over the years. And he really gave an impassioned speech. And then Big Serge, who's won, 6, 7 Stanley Cups, comes in. Our general manager, who never came in the room, never, addressed us all before and for me, I just hung on to every word. And they talked about you may not get opportunities like this ever again, and just talked about what it's like to win it and what it takes to win it. Serge was awesome. So for me, that was the guys that really I looked at when we talk about a speech before the playoffs that year, and it was impactful because I know how it affected not just myself but the other guys in the room. So, Bob Gainey and Larry, again, they were older at the time, and they've been through it. They've won the 5-6 Stanley Cups, right? It's like, and that infusion of youth and exuberance we got from a lot of them young guys that year, and then we had some really good guys who've been around 2 or 3 years, solid players that have started to really establish themselves. We were able to do it. But I look at this team now. Boy, that back end. But it's like every winning team, salary cap, guys gonna start when they come out of them entry level contracts, and you got to start signing guys to big money contracts, or you lose them. Look at Big Buff after Chicago. Gone. They couldn't afford him with Taves and Kane and the goalie, and it's crazy. Like, imagine if he stayed in Chicago. I mean, they won 3 cups in 6 years.
He was a forward then, and he took a big deal and played D.
Right?
He came to Atlanta and then he played as a D man. And when you see back end there, I was gonna say that I was thinking like, you really saw the difference yesterday. Like, I felt like you mentioned, those stats with Stamkos and Kucherov, and it was like outside of them, like no, like even on the back end, it was like you were waiting for like Hedman to skate it up. Like that was all they had, right? Like it was just like you saw like you really saw like how important it was to not have Braden Point. Like there was like no, Colorado
Point
huge.
They
just took advantage of like with those two guys in that line off the ice. They just like kind of like just took advantage, and like you said, they didn't sit back. I mean, that was definitely the wrong word, but it was like experience came in and they did what they needed to do, and they wanted it. So it was awesome. It was awesome to see.
But and you're right, bringing Point up, because listen, there's a guy that this could have went a whole different way this series with him in the lineup, really. And I'm not. One guy can make a big difference. Okay,
100%.
One guy can. Yeah. The team still has to get it done, but, he certainly was missed. And we saw the frustration, right? We saw it in the coach with the referee, and they started talking about that. We saw the McDonough hit from behind, which was the boarding, right? And then right after that, Stamkos shoots the puck at the referee. Now, if that's a slug, that's me.
Yeah, you're in jail. You're in jail.
Gone out of the game. Yeah, penalty. Not just me, other guys. You see the maroon slash in front? They let that go.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, but I could, because that's NHL. That's typical NHL. And it's a close game, and the referee's probably saying, I don't want to be the guy to put them in a situation. It's a 1-goal game. I'm going to give them a penalty for that slash. I mean, why? Are you kidding me? He chopped them. And guys get penalties for less than that, to just a little tap on the hand. And we see this big chop from Maroon. By the way, I loved it. You get pissed off. I see it, but this game is different today. You can't do that. And he got away with it. I was shocked.
No, you go to the refs saying, like, when you said that about the refs, like, I don't know if you saw that waved icing, like, late, like at the end there. There was like, there was a wave, but it looked like there's 2 of them where they waved, but it looked like the ref
gave
was
up
just
a
like,
little. He let up a little.
He was like,
right?
but the ref was like, you could tell the ref was like, fuck it. He's like, he didn't know what to do, and he's just like, I'm just gonna wave it. Like he was like,
but he did let up. If he
I know.
He could have got that puck.
Yep.
He could have got it. He let up.
Sergachev did the same thing earlier. Yeah, and they were trying to, but not that mattered. It was just like, you're right. These refs probably are like, they don't know what to do. They're just kind of, it's like, just call the fucking game, But we hate refs, right? Nux, like, what are we gonna say? Something positive about them right now?
No, we can't. They suck.
So
we'll be having another ref on pretty soon. Tim Peel, we got him coming pretty soon, so we'll have a chance to pick on a referee again.
I need to bully someone.
Kerry Frazier.
What about real quick? Like and then you got a guy like that Natushkin. Like his story, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like he went like 60 games or something with like just no points or nothing, and he had like 11 goals or something. Then you got Killorn on the other end, who had no goal. Killorn had no goals. He had 25 in the season.
And he almost snapped the quickie last night.
I know.
Short-handed.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
Kind of sneaky, quick shot there, right?
Yep.
It would have been nice to see him. Harvard kid from right here, grew up just outside of Montreal in the West Island, the English part of the city. Yeah, he's had a hell of a career, Alex Killorn, no question. But listen, you know, people already talking, oh, they're going to break the team up. And that happens, right?
Yeah.
You know, teams go on a run, and they won 2 cups in a row. And now, oh my God, what's going to happen to the team? They still have a great nucleus of players there that are not finished.
And a fucking ridiculous
goalie.
Yeah, I was just going to say, they have a goalie that's...
Yeah.
You know.
Hedman's still there. Are you kidding me? And then up front, you get Point healthy, right? You know, I guess, I don't know. And they, again, is Perry coming back? It's funny. Did you see the tweet already out? Corey Perry. They said, Corey Perry next year, they got him an Avalanche thing, right? Because he was in Dallas for the final. Yeah. Then Montreal last year for the final. Now he's with... So if you can't beat him, join him. It's hilarious. But, you know, is he going to... Well, he got another year on the contract. Obviously, he's going to come back with that team. But Cirelli coming back... Cirelli there, having Point come back in. That kid, Nick Paul, good young player. Like, this still in this. I think when I look at the back end, you got Bogosian and Chernak. I mean, Chernak's a bitch to play against. So isn't Bogosian. McDonough, same thing. So, you know, this team, by no means are they done. They're going to have to dig deep once again.
It's kind of like they got their core guys, right?
They're
like
all getting up there.
Yeah, it's kind of like when the Blackhawks won their 3 cups, they weren't consecutive, but they still built around the core guys and figured out a way. And you talk about Vasilevsky. You can't. I mean, that's right there. There's a chance now. There's always a chance with him, right? So.
Oh yeah.
You know, I agree with you. I think they're not out of it by no means, and it wouldn't surprise me if they're right back in, you know, competing for it next year. So, you know, it just sucks because there's nothing to watch now. I don't know what to watch. I have nothing else to watch now. Everything's done.
We'd just be kicking ass on this podcast all summer. That's what we do. We'll, you know, bang, one after another. That's all we got to do. Listen, I guess we look at the Avalanche, okay? They're going to have their parade and have a blast. It's going to be crazy. A lot of fun for them. And it's always fun. I love seeing how much guys enjoy it. It does. It brings back so many positive memories for me. And now, and I wish they did it back because I was hurt the last game when we won. You know, I was like be on the ice.
Yeah.
Tore my ankle up. And, you know, now they throw their equipment on and they get out there on the ice and celebrate with their teammates, which is awesome. I was out there with a goddamn suit on, but, you know, it was incredible. It was an incredible moment. And to see guys go through that and be able to realize what it took, all them, and to see McKinnon, like, I love the way the kid plays. He's hard, bust hump. Kind of old school hockey player. I love that. And finally, to him to reach that pinnacle. Him and Sid growing up in the same town, Nova Scotia, right? Cole Harbor, the two of them, and see him on the Tim Hortons commercial up here, the two of them together. And then for him to be able to lift that thing up over his head, just awesome to see. But that Nikushkin, like you said, like, like what a playoff. And Kadri, right? Kadri finally got it under control. I give that kid credit. That's not easy what he did. He had some issues. He did some things in the playoffs that got himself suspended, some kind of stupid things. He got overly emotional, and he put that in the back burner. Like he matured, no question about it, when he went to Colorado. He got out at Toronto, and he got an opportunity somewhere, and someone must have had a good talking to him, and he listened, and he finally come around. I was happy for the kid, really happy.
No, I couldn't agree more. He was actually drafted when I was in Toronto, and he came in that year, and he was kind of like, the next Patrick Kane type kind of player, and then it's like today, yesterday you see him raising the cup, and he's become that player, like you said, that's matured, but he's like the guy that you hate playing against, but you want him on your team, and like those guys are, like that. Those are the best players, and so I agree. I think he's come a long ways, and I'm rooting for him, and I was rooting for him, and I'm happy he got to get the cup, and even though they cheated with the too many men on the ice in Game 5, they still deserve it. No, I'm just kidding.
Cheaters.
Yeah.
I love
you're
that.
not cheating.
Hey,
You're not
if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Yeah.
No, and they got caught too, right?
The
they
game
got caught after
that.
But both teams had too many in the ice for
fuck.
that goal.
I know.
And it's like,
it's
that happens all game. It happens all game. It just so happened the camera.
I mean, you could say,
Johnny Cooper.
Anything could happen there. You can make a save. I don't know. It's not like that's, and that's not vast. I'm not, pointing out vast. I'm just saying, you can't just blame it on that.
No, you are. You're shitting all over Vasilevsky.
He sucks.
He sucks.
I scored on him.
You're saying he's brutal.
I scored on him when he was like 12. And
Did you?
I scored on him, when he was like
Good.
17. He was in the KHL, and everyone was like, this guy's sick, and I scored on him. It was like a tap-in rebound, but...
And you're going and just undress him.
We lost 7-1. I was the guy that was always smiling after because I got my goal. So. But no, he was young. And all joking aside, he was young. He was like 16 or 17 in the KHL, and he was good. He was really good. So him and like a Panarin, these guys, there's some guys that they were talked about back then, and then today what they're doing, you're not surprised. So he deserves everything for sure.
Not at all. Yeah, again, John Cooper, good on him. He did a great job down there. Julian Breezeball, I'm sure, will tweak that lineup and get it where they're gonna compete for it again in Colorado. I don't know who they have to sign or what they have to do here as far as in the off season. We will take a look at all that coming up in the summer here. We're going to preview the next season at one point, but not right now. This one just got over. We're going to enjoy it with the Avalanche. We're going to watch them have that awesome celebration that they so deserve, and they all get the name in the Stanley Cup, and it is there forever. I said congratulations to the Avs.
Yeah.
And if you enjoy this podcast, please follow, listen, and listen first, then follow, and subscribe.